From the Frederick Keys to the Flying Cows, from college courts to Friday night lights, and from the big leagues of local sports to the little leagues where it all begins. This is Frederick Sports, hosted by longtime broadcaster and sports executive John Hunt, bringing over 40 years of play-by-play, insight, and local sports experience to the mic. Frederick Sports starts now.
To the Tuesday edition of Frederick Sports on the Everything Frederick Live Network here in Studio 401. Thank you for joining us today. As always on Tuesday, I get to bring a special guest on board, and we're running out of time on this. I think I'm with Gus. I'm not excited of the fact that pretty soon you and I won't be able to do this anymore on Tuesdays because the season is almost over.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about that we're getting towards the end of the season and we're sort of getting to the finish line. You're getting towards the end of the season when your broadcast intern is back in college and you're doing everything on your own. So I'm just kidding. But no, it's great to get into the final homestand of the regular season and make our push heading towards the playoffs. But John, good to see you as always. How's things?
Things are going well. We got good weather. You guys have a 6-game homestand to kick off tonight. And a lot going on in this final homestand of the season for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think we always joke every year since I moved the Keys that like this final homestand is like you do the whole season at one homestand. Mm-hmm. I like to think that we've done that now for quite a while. So yeah, it's definitely, this last homestand will be busy, but it's going to be really fun. We have a lot of exciting things going on starting tonight with Friends and Family 4-pack. It's also Overdose Awareness Night presented by Pyramid Healthcare. Then we get things rolling, and I know we'll get into this later, but, we got WAG Wednesday tomorrow. On Thursday, we have a couple other events going on, and then the weekend packed with fireworks and fan appreciation night. So there's just a lot going on. JBL is going to be in town on Saturday, so there's a lot to be excited about as we head into this final homestand of the season, and we're looking forward to it.
Now, you mentioned that your intern is back. I told you I'll come sit in the chair anytime you want.
Yeah, man.
And do color for you.
You know what, John? Are you? I don't know if were you planning to swing by this week?
Absolutely, I'll be by this week.
All right. Well, we'll arrange something though when you come by.
You figure it out and tell me what I need to do.
All right.
I've been in the chair before. It's hasn't been that long, so you just tell me what and where, and I will.
We'll make something happen, John.
You can treat me like the little kids that sometimes broadcasters will bring in for that one.
Yeah.
And
we've done that. We've done that a couple of times. We were actually supposed to do that on last Sunday, our last Sunday home game, but the game got rained out, so it ended up not happening. So I'm not sure if we're rescheduling that or not. But it's those are always fun, and they're always great too. I mean, it's good fun, and great ways to keep the stream going, especially now with the fact that we are into the last homestand, and it's a good time to sort of recap the season because the playoffs, it's a little different. I think when you get to the postseason, things are a lot more tightened up, and everyone's a little bit on edge because it's the postseason, and that it could be the last game. And I think this homestand will be enjoying that. It's not quite that yet. I'll be doing that before we have one final road trip to Brooklyn next week, and then we get playoffs starting on the 8th, home game on the 10th. So, but everything good on that end.
So let's talk about the week. In Wilmington, you guys ended it up with a victory, but it was back and forth for the whole series.
Yeah, I mean, Wilmington, they're really good. I mean, I think they got a really good team over there. Obviously, they got the top draft pick from last year, Eli Willits, who's still there, and he's very young, but you can see the talent level from that standpoint. I mean, he's only 18 years old. I mean, that's the crazy thing. He's only 18, and to get all this attention and all that's not easy, to deal with all the attention and just everything coming all at once. It's a grind, man. It's a grind, but it was great to see them, and they got a great staff up there. Front office staff are great to me. So huge shout out to the Blue Rocks front office for welcoming me in as they always do. And it was a grinded out kind of series, much like it was the last time we played them. So a lot of really close games that came down right to the end, and that's what you want, right? And look, they're still very much in the hunt for a playoff spot. I mean, they're only a couple of games back. As I'm talking to you today, they're only 2 games out of a playoff spot. So, I mean, it's, these games are big, and they got a big series this week at Jersey Shore that I think myself, I'll be watching very closely, along with our series. So yeah, it was a grinded out series, but I think for us, the fact that we were able to, finish strong with a really solid performance, on Sunday, kind of put it all together and get some big timely hits. That's what we needed, was the big timely hits. So we got that. And now we're looking to finish strong here this homestand and then, next week.
And winning the second half title would be just another feather in the cap for the way the season has gone. And should that happen, you and I already know the answer, but let the fans know what happens. Who ends up the wild card team?
Yeah, so we would play, regardless of what happens, whether, it's either the second half winner, if it were to not be us, or if it were to be us, it'd be the second place second half winner. Okay. So right now, that would be Greensboro if the season were to end today. But there's a lot that could happen in the next 2 weeks. I mean, Hudson Valley, they've made a surge. They've won 8 in a row, and they're playing really good baseball right now. They're only a game out of Greensboro, so they're right there. As I mentioned, Wilmington, they're a team that is certainly right there, and Brooklyn's not out of it too. They're only 2.5 out. So it's going to be a final push for these couple of weeks. And, I think for us, it's going to just be really important about, playing really good baseball and staying as healthy as we can going into the postseason, and especially these last couple of weeks. So, it's going to be, it's going to be a grind, but, this is the point of the year where you want to be playing your best baseball. And certainly we hope that we'll be able to do that.
And you end up with 6 in a row in Brooklyn. Well, sort of 6.5. You have to finish a game.
Yeah, we're going to finish the game from July the 5th. So that's going to be a fun time, because it'll be I believe the count will be 0-0. It'll be 2 outs, runner on third in the bottom of the 8th inning in a tie game, 2 apiece. So, and obviously both teams are going to be very different than what it was the last time, because that was in early July. And of course your roster is going to be different than then. So, I think the box score will be really interesting to see what the final box score is, because there's going to be a lot of substitutions. But it's going to be, but that'll be a big game, because whoever wins that, that game could be huge down the stretch, because it's another game essentially. So we'll play that game, and then we'll play that one on the 1st on that Tuesday. I believe 5:30. We'll play that game. We'll finish that game rather, and then we jump right into the next game pretty shortly after that.
And then what happens for you when the season is over? When we get, I know you really don't want to, but we're almost there. Are you going to stay and be part of the sales team, or will you go home for a little bit? What happens to the broadcaster when the season's over?
So well, first off, I'm in a really good situation here in Frederick. I'm here full time, so I will be here. I won't be going anywhere. I'll be here doing freelance work on the weekends and stuff like that. I'm doing a lot of different things on that front, but my plan is to do sales. Corporate sales will be, I think, the biggest thing. So, any company that's looking to be a sponsor of the Keys and looking to work with us, my door is always open. Happy to entertain those conversations with you. But that'll be my main priority, is to help out on our corporate sales team, and starting the process of renewals and looking at new business and what we can achieve heading into next year. And that'll be the first thing I'll be doing. And then also, like I said, freelance broadcasting on the side, and take some time off too. I think, obviously the season's a grind as it is. So taking the time is really important, especially for someone like me who works all the games. Getting some time off is going to be really important. So, I'll be doing that. And then, but when you really think about it, I mean, the season ends the middle of September. I mean, let's face it, you get 3 months and then Christmas, and then you get some time off for that. And then after that, it's 12 weeks and your season starts. So yes, it's an off season, but it's not like we just sit back for 3 months and, kick our feet up. You're preparing for next season. We're already starting to prepare for next season already. I mean, our schedule's out for next year. So it's not like we're going to be, yes, there will be some time off, and, we're very fortunate during the holidays. We get a bunch of time during the holidays to sort of recharge. So that'll be good during Thanksgiving and Christmas. We'll get some time off as well.
And as a former broadcaster, and then becoming a broadcaster again, and being an executive in independent league ball, people ask me all the time, young broadcasters, young people trying to get in the business, what is the best thing to learn? And you have an advantage because you're very good at what you do on the broadcast side, but learning sales, if you can sell, you can get a job doing anything. You can get a job with any kind of team. So you can stay in baseball as long as you want because, being a broadcaster, as good as you are, still isn't the easiest gig to get if you're trying to get into the business.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think, I'm very fortunate in our situation where, our ownership and our bosses here, definitely, make sure that I'm doing all the broadcast things, especially during the season. We have a great team around us that helps me out when the season starts, when it comes to activations and things like that, and servicing the accounts as best as possible. But it's a big part of it. It's a huge part of working in sports and working in baseball is the ability to do other things. And for me, that's sales. For other people, it might be graphic design. It might be, marketing help, whatever it is. I also help out community relations wise. So I help out with like scheduling our mascot appearances and things like that. So there's just a lot of things that, we do that, that I enjoy, but I enjoy that stuff. It's a good balance. You want that balance for sure. And that's something that I enjoy.
No question at all. So, in 10 years, I'll be reading Gus Balow, general manager of blank.
Oh, God. I don't think so. I don't think I'll be a GM.
You don't want to go that direction?
No, being a GM is a lot of work and that's, that takes a very unique skill set. I don't think I'd be a great GM. Okay. We have a great GM here in Slayer that does a fantastic job and he makes it look easy, and I don't think I could do it. So I'm very, I think Slater and Brandon McGee, both Slater Fuchs, our GM, Brandon McGee, our managing director, sort of they're the two dynamic duo at the top there, and I think they do a good job of helping us out. But yeah, no, I know you were a GM once before too, John. I know it's a lot of work, and it's especially in baseball, and it's a lot. It's a lot to put on.
It is a grind. It's a first person. If you do it right, I think it's first one in, last one out. I'm not one of those. I was not one of those GMs in my 6 years where, I wouldn't do anything that I wouldn't ask, or I wouldn't make anybody else do anything I wouldn't do myself. That was
and that's such a big part of it too. Yeah, I mean, and Slater does a great job of us, and he'll be down there pulling the tarp with us, and he does a lot of different things there, and while also being the face of the team. He is the face of the franchise and the one that is sort of leading us, and he's been a great leader with me. He's been a huge supporter of mine. Everyone has. Slayer too has been a bit. He's a big reason why I'm still here. He took a chance on me to hire me full time, and I couldn't be more grateful for that. And he's been a big part of that. So it's a good team here, and we're looking forward to, finishing out here strong.
Okay. Well, I'm going to let you get to it. But again, tonight is an awareness night. Tell us a little bit about what we've got going on tonight and who's on the hill tonight.
Yeah. Tonight's Overdose Awareness Night, presented by Pyramid Healthcare. So I know they're going to have a few marketing tables out and, displaying that a little bit. So they'll be, showcasing some stuff. And so make sure to come on out and support them. Tonight on the hill is Christian Rodriguez, right-hander who began the season with Delmarva, someone that has had to go through a lot in his career, to get to where he's at, but really good guy to be around, and he'll get the ball tonight. So we're looking forward to that. But, rest of the week, like as I mentioned, we got WAG Wednesday tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we have a sensory friendly night. So softer sounds, no flashing lights, and sensory spaces on Thursday. Mm-hmm. And then on Friday, we get into country weekend to finish off the year. And obviously, and I don't mean to bring up this on a somber note, but I'm sure you guys probably saw the news of Dolly Parton passing away.
We did.
So I know I think country weekend's going to hit a little bit different this year, just with the passing of Dolly.
Yeah, you definitely have to play some Dolly, and it's
we will
giveaway too. They get
we will. We will definitely be playing some Dolly Parton songs, and obviously just very sad to hear that she passed away today. But we got the cowboy hat giveaway for the first 1,000 fans age 13 and over. Then we have Brewers Alley and SDK sponsoring our fireworks show on Friday. Then on Saturday, it's wrestling night with JBL. Will be in town. John Bradshaw Layfield will be in town with a special autograph signing, a VIP meet and greet ticket. It is still available for purchase. If you go to our website, frederickkeys.com, you can purchase that today. It is still available. You can have a chance to meet JBL himself. And then we also, like, so we'll have fireworks that night. Also kids on the bases, and pregame, it's the Guns versus Hoses softball game going on as well. So that'll be pregame. That'll be starting at 3:00. Gates will open at 2 p.m. The Frederick Fire, Frederick Police will be going at. So make sure to come on down, support our local law enforcement, do a great job, to obviously keep us safe. And that'll be coming up on Saturday. And then Sunday, final home game of the season, the regular season, Sunday Fun Day, presented by Goodwill Industries, Monocacy Valley. That means pregame catch in the outfield and pregame player autographs on the concourse. You can meet a couple of your favorite Keys players. Fan appreciation night with giveaways happening throughout the day. There'll also be post-game fireworks presented by DCA Technology, which means it's a 6:00 Sunday game, not 3:00. 6 p.m. Sunday game with then kids run the bases one final time to finish the season. So, again, that will all take place coming up on Sunday, and a lot to happen this homestand. So, again, get your tickets, frederickkeys.com, and we look forward to seeing you.
And you can also get your playoff tickets there as well. Playoff tickets still
available. Playoff
available.
Tickets are on sale. We'll be home Thursday, September the 10th, with an opponent still to be named. But Thursday, September the 10th at Nimio Field at 7 p.m., the Keys will be in a playoff game at home. First time in 9 years the Keys will be hosting a playoff game. So I would love to see this place packed full of diehard Keys fans, and we need your support. These guys have been working hard all year. We need your support as we get into the postseason and playing some big games coming up.
And we're going to be there with the Everything Frederick Live Network. I'm looking at tomorrow and Sunday. I'd love to come out tonight, and there's slight possibility, but I'm looking at tomorrow and Sunday. Saturday I have to do DC United coverage. So
yeah, it's they're playing on Saturday, DC United?
They play LAFC on Saturday.
Okay. Nice.
So
there you go.
That should be a tough game, but they seem to play well at home against teams better than them. And then some teams they seem to play down to their competition.
That happens in the MLS. I don't watch a ton of MLS, but but obviously I think the World Cup got me hooked into soccer a little bit. So, but yeah, no, it's going to be a fun week here at the stadium. And by the way, too, we're getting a little bit closer to our 10 millionth fan of all time. So you could be the 10 millionth fan.
You think it's realistic we get it during this series? I know we're getting close.
It could happen. Okay. But we need our fans to pack.
Yes.
That's what we need. Fans need to pack the stadium. If we do that, we'll be close. So come on, pack Nimio Field this week, and we'll get there.
All right, Gus, my friend, say hi to everybody in the press box, and have a great time tonight. Again, not sure if I'm going to make it out tonight, but I'm looking at seeing you tomorrow.
Well, we'll be ready for you nonetheless, John, and I appreciate the time as always, my friend.
All right, buddy. Have a great night, and I will see you soon. All right, there you go. Gus Balow with the Frederick Keys, as we do each and every Tuesday. I think we have 2 more Tuesdays left, maybe one right after the season, but definitely next Tuesday when they're on the road in Brooklyn, and then the following Tuesday as we get ready for the playoffs. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to come back and get you caught up with everything else going on in the region in sports. My name is John Hunt, and you're watching Frederick Sports.
Hi, I'm Jerry Donald, Frederick County Council member, and I'm running for the Maryland House of Delegates. As a council member, I wrote the impact fee law to help build new schools and libraries, the riparian buffer law to make our streams and rivers cleaner. I sponsored a bill to allow farmers to sell directly to the public at farm stands, and I wrote the law that created the Frederick County Board of Health. I voted against the increases to your income and property taxes, and I voted against the expansion of the data center overlay. As a delegate, my focus is to bring your tax dollars back to Frederick County for roads, schools, and libraries. Paid for by Citizens for Jerry Donald, Cam Rayner, Treasurer.
Hot Fired Arts is Frederick's handmade, locally owned art studio where creativity meets community. Since 2016, they've offered hands-on art experiences for all ages, from pottery and fused glass to wet clay and canvas painting. Whether you're looking for a fun family outing, a date night, or a creative outlet, they make art accessible and enjoyable for all skill levels. Stop by and see them today in the Fairview Shopping Center on 7th Street, Frederick, or visit them online at hotfiredarts.com.
Frederick, if you're craving real Chicago-style flavor, Rosati's is bringing it. From their cheesy, loaded deep dish pizza to crispy tavern-style thin crust, every bite is packed with that classic Rosati's taste. And don't sleep on the steak and cheese sub. Hot, hearty, and seriously satisfying. Rosati's has been serving family recipes since 1964, and now you can get it right here in Frederick. Stop by 911 West 7th Street or order online at rosatispizza.com. Rosati's, keeping it real since 1964.
To Rosati's. They were on John's house this morning. Dave was there, and he brought us delicious subs, which I'm still feeling in my belly. It was quite tasty. I had the Italian beef and Italian sausage sub. My goodness, it was more than I could eat. I had to cut it in half. I'll have the rest later on, but quite tasty. Thanks again to our friends at Rosati's. Also, some of our other great sponsors throughout the course of the broadcast. Hot Fired Arts. We also have Peak Performance Center and the Pickle Park, plus a number of other sponsors. We appreciate being on board with us here on the Everything Frederick Live Network on John's House. So let's get to everything on John's House and Frederick Sports. John's House in the morning. Sometimes, it happens. Anyways, that's what happens when you do live. Let's talk about the other teams in the Orioles organization. Chesapeake was off last night. They'll start a 6-game series at Harrisburg. So if you want to go see all the young guys in Chesapeake, and if you're not going to go to the Keys game, go just up the road to Harrisburg and you can see the Chesapeake Bay Sox. And a lot of guys that were on the Keys just a couple of weeks ago have moved up to Double-A ball. There are only 18 games left in their series. They are 7.5 games behind Erie. They are in second, but they are 7.5 games back with 18 to play. It's going to be tough because they didn't win the first half. The only way that they can make the playoffs is to win the second half title. And again, they have a lot of catching up to do. Not impossible. I've seen crazier things happen, but 7.5 games to make up in 18 left in the season. They will return home on September 1st for 6 games against Portland. That will be the last series of the season. Hagerstown is off tonight. They will have 6 games at the Long Island Ducks, and then they will come home next Tuesday for 6 games against Staten Island. And that's going to be starting on September 1st. So if you want to go check out Hagerstown, their season is getting near the end or getting near their playoffs as well. Aberdeen, the team that was actually here in Frederick last year in the draft league and switched positions. They were single A. Aberdeen was draft league. Frederick was draft league. Aberdeen was single A. They lost to Williamsport 7-4 yesterday. However, they're actually looking good for a potential playoff spot. They'll play at home tonight against Williamsport. An important game is they're 1.5 games behind the first half champions, Williamsport. Now, here's the deal. If they don't catch Williamsport, but they can stay in second place, they will get the wild card playoff spot because Williamsport won the first half as well. So you can't play against yourself in the playoffs. You got to play somebody. And so they would have the opportunity to be that second place team and slide into the playoffs. Again, 1.5 games behind the first half champs, Williamsport. Second half playoff spot on the line. 6 games remaining for them. That's it. Their season is over on September 1st. So 3 at Mahoning Valley after tonight, and the final home 3 against Trenton at Ripken Stadium in Aberdeen. So again, if you want to watch the draft league team, you can get out there for the final 3 games of the season coming up this weekend. And let's see, Frederick again at home versus Asheville, 6-game series starting tonight. Let's take a look at, DC United. I was talking about them a little bit. I'll be covering them on Saturday at Audi Field at 7:30. They play LAFC. They're currently in a 3-way tie for 9th place. 9th place gets you in the playoffs as a wild card team. However, in the tiebreakers, they fall behind Orlando City and Toronto FC. They are all tied with 24 points, but both of those teams have more wins on their record versus the ties that DC United has to get them to their 24 points. The Red Bulls are in 8th place with 26 points. So they're only 2 points ahead of all this bunch of teams. And then the NYCFC, New York City Football Club, have 27 points. That's only 3 points ahead, and they are in 7th place. So there is a tight bunch of teams all right at the edge of making and not making the playoffs. And DC United is in the fight. LAFC, a very good West Coast team. And again, DC United seems to play up to the level of their competition or down. So this should be one of those games like they had against Nashville where they, find a way to get a point out of it, maybe even get a victory against LAFC. And English Premier Soccer is back. And by the way, if you don't know, English Premier Soccer is the reason we have Ted Lasso right now. And it's not because of the content on the show. It's actually because NBC bought the rights for English League Premier Soccer. And they needed something to promote it. And so they made up a character. They made up Ted Lasso as a character. And Jason Sudeikis wrote this, and Brendan Hunt. They wrote this character and they turned it into a commercial for NBC for English League Soccer a bunch of years ago. And when it came, they were trying to think of something for a new show to do. And they said, hey, let's bring back that Ted Lasso character. One thing led to another. And now they're in the 4th season of Ted Lasso on Apple Television. If you haven't followed it, it's fun. Even if you're not a soccer fan, it covers other things in life about relationships and mental health and other things like that that make the show fun. And in season 4, Ted Lasso is now going to coach the women's team. No spoilers. I'm sure everybody already knows that. No spoilers. He's actually coaching the brand new women's team after going back home to Kansas City for a little while after season 3. Games are already started. They had game 1 for everybody. Game 2 this week. Friday starts this week with Crystal Palace against Man City. Saturday, it's Liverpool. That's the team I root for in the English Premier League against Nottingham Forest. I think that might be where Robin Hood is from. I don't think Robin Hood plays soccer, but Liverpool against Nottingham Forest on Saturday. More games Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the English Premier League. And before we wrap it up, again, hats off to the Mystics. They will play the Phoenix Mercury tonight, a 6-game road trip. It's tough. 6 out of the last 8 games on the road, mostly on the West Coast. They'll play tonight and tomorrow night, back-to-backs at the Phoenix Mercury, and then they'll return to D.C. for the final 2 games. They have locked in a playoff spot after their win against Portland the other night. The Mystics are up to 7th place, 9-3 in their last 12 games. They're only one half game behind the great New York Liberty. Everybody talks about the Liberty and the tradition they have there. But DC United's only a half game behind them for 6th place, only 2 points behind the Indiana Fever. And you know who plays on the Indiana Fever. Everybody knows it's Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham's team, right? So the Indiana Fever only 2 games behind or 2 games ahead of this Washington Mystics team who's just playing great ball, and only 2.5 games behind the Atlanta Dream for the 4th position going into the playoffs. So they've got some work to do. Nothing is locked down except the fact that they're in the playoffs, but it would be nice for the Mystics to climb up a couple of spots and maybe not have to play Las Vegas or Minnesota in the first round. They're the top 2 teams in the league. So let me wrap this up on your Tuesday. It is Tuesday, right? For the Everything Frederick Live Network, to remind you that if there's anything you'd like to reach us about, you want to be part of one of the shows, you have an event coming up, maybe you have a sports team that you want to tell us about, you have signups coming up, you have a bake sale coming up, you want the world to know that you're playing on a certain night, we would love to have you right here in Studio 401 in Frederick. You know, you're looking at the studio, professional studio. It's not some guy in his basement saying, Mom, give me the meatloaf. It's not that at all. It's the real deal professional studio right here in Frederick, studio number 401. And thanks to Nick for working behind the board to make sure that I don't push the wrong buttons, as I am also learning to produce myself. Which will be a lot of fun. I used to do it in radio, terrestrial radio all the time. So I thought, oh yeah, this will be nothing. Well, there's video involved and other buttons and a computer and, it's not just pushing buttons. But again, Thanks to Nick for kind of watching over today as we get ready to rock and roll into next Monday, where I'll be producing everything by myself. So if you'd like to be part of the show, please hit me up, rockthewave13@gmail.com. And if I would have been smart, I would have pushed that button so it would have come on the screen. But again, rockthewave13@gmail.com is the place if you would like to be involved in the show in any way, shape, or form, either as a sponsor to start your own podcast or be a guest. We'd love to have you on the Everything Frederick Live Network. Happy Tuesday for you. I am going to jump out. Remember, you are what you watch and you listen to. And I'm John Hunt. You've been watching Frederick Sports.
This episode is a proud production of the Everything Frederick Live Podcast Network. Your home for Frederick's best podcasts, streaming daily on YouTube.